的地盘，我做主。
Gear up for a burst of colour in the brand new series of colour blocks.
Hello.
Get in the mix with new members of the team.
I'm deep blue.
I think I'm lime.
I'm sky blue.
And friends you already know.
Woo 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 with the Boutique crew, making lots of colours for you. Delicious.
Brighten your day with the brand new series of colour blocks. Starts the 12th of February on CBeebies and BBC iPlayer.
Color all mixed. What is it? Okay. Color block. In a magic world of colors, look what we can. Color blocks, red and yellow and blue. Color blocks, green and purple.
So, if you love seeing the universe serve up delicious cosmic justice, you're in the right place. From idiotic arsonists to troublemaking TikTokers, buckle up and
Ways. However, these egg extremists actually order the candy from websites that illegally ship them to America and sell them for 4 times the amount they cost in Europe. U.S. Customs seized over 60,000 illegal eggs in 2011, and this trade has turned into a full-blown black market as customers order the illicit candy online and hide them in their homes. I know forbidden fruit tastes the sweetest, but I still think that's pretty extreme. Tight collar crime. In Japan, you can legally eat Kinder eggs, but the government doesn't want you to eat too many of them due to a peculiar and somewhat invasive law that was implemented to stop Japan's population from gaining weight. The Metabo Law is a piece of legislation that requires everyone between the ages of 40 to 74 to have their waistlines measured by their employer every year. Like Shakira, Japan's government knows that your hips don't lie. And if a man's waistline is measured to be about 33.5 inches, and a woman's is about 35.6, they'll be required to attend weight loss classes funded by their employer. While the law doesn't explicitly make obesity illegal, if a company repeatedly fails to reduce their number of overweight employees, they'll be subject to fines. And there are reports of big corporations receiving up to $19 million in fines for missing their targets. The rule isn't enforced frequently, so some companies aren't particularly strict about the law. However, Panasonic reportedly gives their employees MetaboCheck towels that come equipped with tape measure-like markings, allowing employees to keep track of their waistlines in the months leading up to their annual checkups. This sounds horrible, and I'm sure lots of Panasonic's employees have used their free time to roll up their tears as their bosses accuse them of being overweight. That being said, by comparison, I feel pretty lucky.
发现的太晚了。
Fat, wildly incompetent, morally bankrupt, a stain on humanity. Sure, never found. Invisible criminal. If you're an outdoorsman or a pop star from 2002, you probably love wearing camouflage clothing. However, in some parts of the world, it's completely illegal to wear camouflage. And this crime against fashion could land you in jail like this guy. Hey, where'd he go? Anyway, in 12 different countries, including Antigua, Barbados, and Jamaica, anti-camouflage is seen as an impersonation of the military. So each country has placed a blanket ban on wearing clothes with a camouflage of Barbados and Jamaica. 12 different countries, including Antigua, Barbados, and Jamaica, wearing any camouflage is seen as an impersonation of the military, so each country has placed a blanket ban on wearing clothes with a camouflage pattern. Some of these countries take the law incredibly seriously. Back in 2013, Grenada's Assistant Commissioner of Police confirmed that the country has a zero-tolerance policy on camo, and anyone caught wearing a camouflage pattern in any color could be fined $3,700 or a jail. In Nigeria, the ban on camo extends to vehicles after the Army Color Act of 1977 made it illegal to own a vehicle painted in a color called green. This ban came after criminals started dressing as soldiers and painting their cars green to pull over passing motorists and explode. To deal with the criminals, the government decided to ban these vehicles altogether and make it illegal for any civilians to own or operate a car. Now, realistically, you're not going to mistake a green with a green stain. You're over a camo ready for hard criminals, but these countries will still treat them as a potential threat as the police can round them up and charge them with a crime. If they can locate them in the first place, that is. Let's go from the countries where camouflage is a place that's full of outdoorsmen dressed in camo clothing. Minnesota is known as the land of 10,000 lakes, and it's famous for its beautiful landscape and wildlife. Minnesota's government fears a lot.
知道我刚在时空旅行的时候见到谁了吗？一只机器猫。
And their strangest law aims to protect the pigs that live in the state by making it illegal to organize or participate in a greased pig contest. Now, for those of you who don't know, a greased pig contest is a game played at county fairs where a group of contestants chase a greased up pig around and attempt to grab it. The game is great fun for the contestants, but as the pig runs away and squeals in fear, it probably isn't having such a good time. Minnesota's government decided that these contests were cruel, so in 1971 they specifically banned operating or taking part in a contest in which contestants try to capture a greased up pig. This statute completely outlawed the contest, so if you attend a greased pig contest in Minnesota and someone calls the other pigs, your butt is bacon, and you could spend up to 90 days in jail with a $1,000 fine. This law aims to protect pigs, but other animal cruelty laws also help to protect people from nature. In Louisiana, the craziest reason that someone can go to jail isn't public intoxication on Mardi Gras. The state's wildest law is actually a ban on bear wrestling. This law place you can kiss goodbye to your dreams of throwing on a singlet and attempting to body slam Louisiana's woodland creatures. Back in the 60s and 70s, bear wrestling was a popular sport in Louisiana as men battled against 700-pound bears in bars and county fairs. These matches drew in huge crowds until people started to realize that capturing a bear, removing its claws, and fighting it in a bar isn't particularly humane. As a result, Louisiana decided to ban the sport in 1992, and as other states followed suit, bear wrestling was almost unanimously banned in America, ensuring that if you body slam a bear in the ring, you'll end up in the slammer. Drink like a fish. Now that bear wrestling is illegal, American bars are forced to rely on pool, darts, and alcohol to entertain their patrons. Drinking like a fish is a long-standing tradition in America. In Ohio, there's a famous old law that makes drinking with a fish illegal. This old Ohioan law explicitly makes it illegal to get a fish drunk, and the legislation has become legendary as several mainstream news organizations like Fox News and the BBC have reported on it. Now, this law is infamous, but unsurprisingly, it wasn't actually created to stop you from going far and use a pet bar. The law was actually implemented as part of a track that targeted against breweries pumping whiskey into rivers and intoxicating the animals in the water. And intoxication in this case is less in the drunk fun kind of way and more the fatal poisoning kind of way. The legislation allowed the government to fight against breweries that were polluting Ohio's wildlife with alcohol. However, the legislation has since been updated, and in 1973 it was replaced by a law that prohibits pumping waste of any kind into states, rivers, lakes, and ponds. As a result, it's no longer explicitly illegal to get a fish drunk in Ohio. However, if you bring an aquatic friend to your local watering hole and order it a beer, you'll probably get some funny looks, so it's best to leave the fish in its tank. Smooth criminals. When it comes to flirting, I'm about as smooth as sandpaper. However, in Haddon Township, New Jersey, my lack of game could save me from a trip to jail due to an old law that makes flirting illegal. In Haddon, if you try your best riz on a stranger, you could literally be arrested. And the township's legislation specifically states a person cannot approach another person of the opposite sex in a public place and by word, sign, or gesture attempt to become acquainted with that person against their will. The law's ambiguous wording has left it up for interpretation, but most people note that if approaching someone of the opposite sex and attempting to become acquainted with them is illegal, then that essentially rules out pickup lines. Others have noted that the law's use of the term against their will places specific emphasis on consent, so it might have been created to target catcalling and harassment of people shouting suggestive comments at strangers who just want to be left alone. Either way, whether the law is there to prevent genuine harassment or harmless flirting, if you visit the Haddon Township, I would be practicing your best pickup lines. You might pick up some criminal charges.
是时候去肃清内鬼了。
Haddon's laws against flirting are thought to be a result of the area's traditional Christian roots, but it isn't the only place with laws that are rooted in religion. Appalachia is a large region of America stretching from New York State to Mississippi that's united by its beautiful mountains, traditional values, and total ban on the Christian practice involving snake handling. In the Bible passage, Mark 16:18, Jesus promises his disciples that if they spread the gospel, they'll be able to pick up snakes and drink poison without being. This passage was relatively little known until 1910 when a Pentecostal minister, George Wayne Hensley, introduced it to his ministry across Howard County, Tennessee. Hensley told his friend that one day while doubting his faith, he climbed up a hill to pray. As he knelt down at the top of the hill, he saw a snake slither in front of him. At this point, he claimed to have picked up the dangerous snake and carried it back to his church without being bitten. Now, it isn't clear if this story is actually true, but from that point on, he persuaded snake handling into his services by bringing snakes into church and asking his flock to prove their faith by holding the serpents without being bitten. Word of Hensley's sermons started to slither across Appalachia, and before long, other pastors in the region started copying him by testing their flock's faith with venomous snakes. As the ritual became popular, people started getting bitten, leading to over 120
it's not me.
documented casualties from the
I don't know who it
practice.
is.
These fatal
Because I
accidents
was with
prompted
number
every
9, but
Appalachian
I
state to
left,
outlaw
so it
bringing
couldn't have been
snakes
me
into
that
church.
killed her.
Apart from West Virginia, whose state constitution doesn't allow any law to impede on a religious practice. The other states took the law very seriously, though, and in Georgia, snake handling was briefly made punishable by the death penalty after a child succumbed
Okay,
to
hold
a
up.
bite
I
in
need a second to
1941.
process.
Despite this ban, George
Okay,
West
thank
Hensley
you.
never
Thank you for
stopped
waiting
performing
like
the
half a
rituals, and
second.
in 1955
any
he
gays?
passed away after being bitten by a snake during a secret
Yeah,
service.
it's gotta be number 5.
After Hensley croaked, almost
Number
all
5.
the illegal services quickly died out too.
You were
So
literally
the next time you want to take
following
your
number
pet snake to
1.
an Appalachian Sunday
I
service,
think.
you'll have to
If my
leave that
brain is
quiet.
processed.
Just make sure you crack the window.
I just
Right,
seen
to never
number
die.
1 got killed from number 5, so I vote number 5 because I was at the and then I see number 1 just got killed from as number 8.
Michael Bloomberg served as the mayor of New York, and he made it his mission to introduce a lot of health regulations to the city.
Hell no.
Mayor Bloomberg increased the tax on cigarettes and
It's
encouraged
not me.
workers to exercise and introduced a law
I
that required
didn't
calorie
see.
counts to
I
display
didn't
calorie
find my
information in their menus,
task
and
a
forced
because
citizens of the Big Apple to trade burgers and fries for, well, big apples. Mayor Bloomberg's laws were supported by public health experts, but not everyone in America agreed with them. In Mississippi, officials argued that their citizens should be able to eat giant restaurant portions without being shamed by the menu. And a person's diet is none of the government's business. The governor was so outraged by Bloomberg's regulations that he passed a law nicknamed the Anti-Bloomberg
First of all, I was
Bill,
going to
which
my
specifically
task,
banned
and I wasn't even
restaurants from
playing.
displaying nutritional
That was my
information on
cousin.
the menu.
So how you tell me that my cousin was playing for me?
I'm sure
I've
lots of
been
Mississippians
AFK.
were pretty happy with this rule.
So
However,
he was
Mississippi
going to my
repeatedly
task.
went to
So
number
how you gonna
8
tell me
US
that I'm
states
the
for
governor?
healthcare
He was going.
and obesity. So the law definitely hasn't helped the state's public health. Still, they can always drown their hell sorrows in another helping of guilt-free mud pie, blissfully unaware of the calorie content. Mass criminals. Let's return to the Big Apple and look at one of New York's oldest and most unique laws. When I start talking about crimes against fashion, you probably picture someone wearing double denim or socks with sandals. However, some clothing-based crimes are a bit more serious. And in New York, it's been illegal to wear a mask in public since 1845. This law came about due to a number of violent protests in New York during the 1800s as farmers started donning masks and attacking police with races. The government dealt with these riots by making it illegal to use this small law wearing a mask in public was considered loitering. Law was carried out a few Sundays to because it's technically illegal to run out of fuel while driving on the road. While there isn't a law that explicitly says you can't run out of fuel, it's illegal to stop unnecessarily on the Autobahn for any reason that's deemed avoidable. The government don't make any exceptions for people whose tanks are running low. The penalty for stopping on the Autobahn for longer than 3 minutes starts at $76. However, if you cause an accident in the process, you could receive an unlimited fine depending on the severity of the crash. As a result, if you end up driving through Germany in the future, you should probably keep an extra jerry can in your trunk because if you run out of gas and end up causing a collision, the police will pick you up and give you a free ride straight to court. No laughing matter. I learn a lot of incredible things while creating these videos, but the world is still full of age-old questions that we might never be able to answer. Like, why are we here? What happens when we die? And why did the chicken really cross the road? At some point or another, we've all been asked about that damn chicken. But if someone from the town of Quitman, Georgia ever asks you why the chicken crossed the road, you should throw them to the ground and call the cops. See, Quitman seems like an ordinary town, but it's actually one of the only places in the world where it's officially illegal for a chicken to cross the road. This might sound like a cheesy joke, but Quitman's legislation officially states that if you own any domestic animal like chickens, it's illegal on the streets or alleys of the city or to be on the premises of
A janitor's duty is never fulfilled.
As a result, if you're a Quitman resident who lets their chicken roam free, you should quit, man, or you'll be charged with a crime. The poultry police. In Wisconsin, lots of people are forced to wear big hats to fight against the cold of winter. However, the state reportedly has some laws about what type of headgear you're allowed to wear due to an infamous statute that prohibits you from entering the state while wearing a chicken on your head. That's right. Wisconsin's government wants you to store your chickens in a coop or on your plate. This ludicrous legislation has received a lot of attention online as citizens have questioned why the law was passed or why a person would want to wear a bird on their head in the first place. Crazy as the law seems, it isn't particularly unique. In just one state over in Minnesota, it's reportedly illegal to enter with a duck on top of your head, making the border between the two states a bird-free zone. These laws are infamous in both states, and there are several articles online discussing them, often questioning whether the statute bans wearing live or plucked poultry as headgear. However, Minnesota's law library has weighed in on the issue, explaining that there's no evidence that either of these states has ever enforced these laws, and they're likely nothing but it would seem the same also applies to the Wisconsin chicken head law. It isn't clear how these myths started, but despite what countless online articles suggest, they do appear. So if you ever visit either of these states, you can feel free to put the sheik in chicken and place any bird you want on your noggin. Banning bears. All this chicken talk has got me feeling pretty cooped up, so let's escape to the holidays and a law that concerns a very famous bear. Winnie the Pooh is one of the most beloved characters in the world, but not everyone is a fan. This became clear back in 2021 when the town of Tushin in Poland were choosing a cartoon character to become the mascot for a new playground. One council member innocently suggested using Winnie the Pooh, and to their shock, some of the members of the town's council were outraged. They stated that the bear was immodestly dressed and lacked a gender, dubbing him an inappropriate hermaphrodite due to his lack of trousers and missing male anatomy. As the council descended into chaos, one official kept the peace by stating that they'd use a Polish cartoon bear called Uzyk instead, noting that the bear was created in Poland and was very dressed down. Now, Tushin's council decided to keep Winnie the Pooh off their playgrounds, but the ban wasn't actually breaking the law. In contrast, though, China's government had
这个护盾可以保护你。
People started making memes that compared Winnie the Pooh's appearance to China's president Xi Jinping. Winnie the Pooh is a lovable character, but China still didn't take kindly to the comparisons, and so the government placed a ban on certain depictions of the bear. Images that compare him to the character are completely outlawed, and in the Chinese version of the game, it was censored with a fear of one war. The Chinese government took this law directly seriously. In 2018, a Chinese college student was jailed for 6 months after sharing memes depicting President Xi as Winnie the Pooh. There's only one response for that. Some people really call it CSI. It's now moving from a cuddly yellow bear to a law that's based on genuine doggy doo-doo. Everyone stepped in dog poop at some point, but the government in Capri, Italy want to make it a thing of the past by using one of their most unique laws to punish irresponsible pet owners. In Capri, there's a pre-existing law that requires every dog owner to a blood test to check them for diseases.
Mission complete.
This law was introduced to keep dogs healthy, but in 2011, Capri's mayor proposed using their database of dog DNA to perform tests on dog poop left on the island streets to help them identify the offending dogs behind the mess. The government's special unit of CSIs, or crappy sidewalk investigators, will use the long arm of the law to pick up offending dog poop before using it to track the dog owner down and slap them with a $2,100 fine for not picking up after their canine friends. This law might seem extreme, but to be fair, tourism is one of Capri's biggest industries, and nobody wants to go on vacation to an island that's covered in deer. Well, except I like placing a legal limit on the number of coins that you can use for a single transaction. The Currency Act of 1985 states that you can use no more than 25 pennies, 100 nickels, 100 dimes, 40 quarters, 25 $1 coins, or 20 $2 coins per transaction. If you use more coins than these set limits, then the vendor can refuse to accept them and file a dispute to stop people from paying for expensive To those of us who don't live in the Maple Nation, this statute seems pretty and just imagine the unbridled rage that's
Ready to hunt?
everywhere. However, when we look at what happens in countries that don't have this law, it starts to make sense. Back in 2015, a student from Florida was hit with a $110 ticket after illegally parking at the University of North Carolina. When it came time to pay the fine, Stephen decided to inconvenience the college by paying several banks to collect the money, and when he brought it to UNCC's campus in 5 giant boxes, the parking officials were forced to spend 3 hours and 30 minutes counting the fare before accepting the payment. As it was all paid in April 10th, America's big However, his method of payment inconvenienced both the staff at the bank and the university and operated on a level that After all this time, we'd like to officially introduce you to myself, Wesley, and Shay. We're the narrators here at Be Amazed, but we also know you guys tend to have a personal favorite for certain videos and topics. So, are you Team Wesley or Team Jay? Please click on the button in the description to let me know. Well, it looks like you've served your sentence as we end our journey through the things that you didn't know were illegal. Which ludicrous law was your favorite? And have you committed any of these crimes in real life? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.
Number 10, can you be my
有什么意思？
We left. Oh, wait, we forgot to put.
My will shall be your command.
Hehehe 痛快！大家一。
My will shall be your command. I am the one true God.
You're woken by a bang at the door. Open up! Come out with your hands up! You can't believe this is happening. Could you really be in trouble with federal officials over lunch meat? You might be surprised. There are a lot of laws on the books in the United States, and some are genuinely bizarre. Here are some of the craziest state and federal U.S. laws that still exist. One thing that all states have in common is laws against drunk driving. It's illegal in all 50 states to operate a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level above a certain level. Some states expand that to other vehicles like bikes, scooters, and tractors, but Wyoming adds a unique vehicle to that. Skis. Skiing under the influence could get you charged with a misdemeanor and facing up to 18 days in jail. Makes sense, a drunk skier could cause a dangerous crash that could hurt themselves or others, but how often does this happen exactly? Some laws are common sense, maybe a little too common sense. Have you ever told a friend, I know this route so well I could find it blindfolded? Well, you're apparently not the only one. Because in Alabama, someone might have taken that challenge a little too literally. The southern state has a law on the books prohibiting driving while your vision is obscured with a blindfold. As it's unlikely to have happened too often, we're guessing that the law might have well been named after the person who inspired it. So when in Alabama, don't be a Dave. Keep your eyes on the road. Another area where a lot of strange laws come into play, our furry friends. Maybe you have a grandma who loved to knit, and she would use anything she could get her hands on to create a sweater. Well, if she lives in Delaware, there's one thing you don't have to worry about her using. It is illegal in the tiny northwestern state to sell dog or cat hair. A Class B misdemeanor to sell any part of a domestic dog or cat. This is no doubt a disappointment to the owner of Persian cats everywhere as they coat the house in a thin layer of hair every shedding season. But there's nothing stopping her from knitting her own pet sheddings. But this next one might be a little harder to enforce. In the old days in Indiana, it was apparently pretty popular to have high-intensity horse races. These would often take place in public streets, which could be a danger to pedestrians. So the state passed a common-sense law, banning people from riding horses above 10 miles an hour anywhere in the state. There's just one problem. Did anyone tell the horses? They probably don't know how to read speed limits, and an out-of-control horse could mean a ticket. But with the arrival of cars, that's probably less of a worry. How fast do they go again? But at least this law protects one animal, maybe, Bigfoot, the mysterious North American megafauna. Or maybe just a guy named Bob in a gorilla suit. Many people believe the missing link exists, and they go into the woods regularly searching for it. But if you're Bigfoot hunting in Washington state, better make sure that you're only armed with a camera. Since 1969, the famous cryptid has been legally protected, with shooting a Bigfoot being a felony punishable by 5 years in prison, and he's now legally classified as an endangered species. If you see him, let him know. It's not the only state with some strange hunting regulations. In Virginia, him in prison, legally protect only armed with a camera. Since 1969, the famous cryptid has been legally protected, with shooting a Bigfoot being a felony punishable by 5 years in prison, and he's now legally classified as an endangered species. If you see him, let him know. It's not the only state with some strange hunting regulations. In Virginia, there's a rich hunting tradition. Sportsmen and those looking to put some game on the menu do go out daily and shoot birds and mammals in the woods, except on Sunday. This isn't uncommon, as many states have regulations preserving Sunday as a day of rest for religious reasons. There's one exception to this no hunting ban in Virginia. The law bans the shooting of any wild bird or wild animal, including nuisance species, on Sundays, with the exception of
Mission
raccoons.
complete.
Virginia really won't. We hate this one species particularly. Poor trash pandas. We bet this next law never even crossed your mind. There's nothing like a frog jumping competition, right? Okay, not many people know about this sport, which involves seeing how far a frog can jump after startling it. But this can be occasionally dangerous for the frog, and California wants to make sure those heroic athletes get treated well. If a frog is killed or otherwise dies in competition, it is forbidden to eat or use the body for any other purpose. Alas, no drowning the sorrows of losing the prize jumping frog with an agonizing frog leg. Few areas have more strange laws than food. In Connecticut, they take pickles seriously. When legislators were discussing how to check for good quality pickles, because really biting into a mushy pickle is pretty disgusting, they passed a law stating that any pickle sold in the state must be able to bounce when dropped on the floor. This was actually tested in 1948 when 2 pickle vendors were reported for selling pickles that were unfit for human consumption. Sure enough, their wares did.
60 weird laws across the world. That's exactly what we're going to discuss about today. Starting from banning chewing gums to paying for desks and chairs at school. Yeah, this is the right. In Singapore, it is illegal to chew gum except for medical purposes. But as this person puts it, it is being ignored by citizens. The fine could go all the way to $2,000, and if you're caught selling it, up to $100,000 or 2 years in prison. In Milano, Italy, there was a legal requirement to smile at all times except during funerals or hospital visits. Yeah, clearly not happening anymore. In Korea, also, dog owners must walk their dogs 3 times a day. Why? Speaking of dogs, you must pay a tax if you own a dog in Finland. And in Finland, you are also required by law to grow hops if you own a house. Yeah, that's a must. In Venice, Italy, it is legal to kiss people, and I've actually seen it myself, and I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. I actually yeah, I hope FBI doesn't watch this video. If you don't flush the toilet in Singapore, you're gonna be fined $150. With $150, in Canada, if you have a payment, it's illegal to pay with coins. Why? So Canada especially.
And whose heart are we stealing today?
Someone in 2014 climbed a tree and they earned themselves a fine of $365. These Australian laws are just so funny. So, it is illegal to be drunk in a pub. What's the purpose of the pub then? It is illegal to dress up as Batman and Robin. And this is the funniest. If you cannot get to a urinal in time, it is perfectly legal to urinate on your own vehicle's rear left tire. And I was wondering, is it illegal on your right tire then? Because that's the logic, I guess. Oh yeah, let's move on to some random ones. In Samoa, it is illegal to forget your wife's birthday. So, if you forget your wife's birthday, the husband is warned at first. But if he's caught again, then he'll definitely spend time in jail. In Bermuda, it is illegal to walk barefoot in public. Don't ask me why. In United Arab Emirates, it is illegal to swear. That's right. Someone last year was actually arrested and was put in jail for 3 weeks for simply swearing at someone. It is illegal to wear a mask in public in Denmark. And no, I don't mean this mask. I mean this mask. The reason is because people want to see themselves at public places. So they just introduced this law, I guess. You cannot turn off your phone's camera sound in South Korea and Japan. So if you buy a phone in the country, you will be unable to turn off the shutter sound. This is the shutter sound. And this was to prevent the hidden cut off the shutter sound. This is the shutter sound. In the country, you will be unable to turn off the shutter sound. This is the shutter sound. And this was to prevent the hidden camera crisis which hit South Korea. In Argentina, it is illegal to name a child after a fictional or notable character. And yeah, that includes Messi, of course. In India, it is illegal to take Indian currency out of the country. There's a limit of 25,000 Indian rupees you can take while traveling. And if you're caught taking more than that, you're gonna spend time in jail. You are not allowed to take a selfie with Buddha in Sri Lanka. The reason is because you turn your back to him. In 2014, a British woman was jailed for 3 days for taking a selfie, so be careful. In Germany, it is basically legal to break out of jail. Yeah, that is true. So, escaping from prison is not considered a crime. It is considered as a basic human instinct to be free. So, attempting to escape is not punishable by law. Unless if you commit other offenses, such as damage to a property or harming someone during the escape. Then obviously, yeah, you're gonna have more security measures. You can get a fine up to $70 in Germany. So fill your gases before you go to jail. USA has a lot of rules. In Alabama, it is illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. So what is the reason? In Iowa, it is against the law to be 25. It is not allowed to kiss someone at all. Okay. In Missouri, single men between between the ages of 21 and 50 must pay an annual tax of $1. One, if you own your car excessively in New York City, you will have to pay fine $350. You are not allowed to signal a woman in Virginia by any person is not allowed to be dead to follow the house. Again, all of the giants have one. I guess okay on that. But yeah, so many taxi drivers using your car for being and they must pay royalty for the position. Why is it that no taxes in Germany if you pay to get license with your driving license? Now let's see what India has. You need a license for flying kites in India, and if you're caught, you risk a fine up to 500 Indian rupees. But as your guy said, most of the people ignore this law, but guys, be careful either way. In the state of Maharashtra, particularly in Mumbai, you are not allowed to dance at all in bars. What's the purpose of the bar then? You guys probably know that the national symbol of Georgia is the chicken. And well, if you steal a chicken in Georgia, you might as well just stay in jail for 10 years.
不好意思，让一下，我有一艘飞船要修。
There are so many chickens in Georgia. It is illegal for your chicken to cross the road in Georgia. Will they get arrested? Probably. Winning is completely illegal in Poland. In fact, if you wear a Winnie Pooh t-shirt, you can get arrested. Yeah, let's move on. When you get in a village in New Jersey, you must honk when you pass the car, so like you pass the car. It's illegal to be in Portugal. I wonder, I'm gonna check that. It used to be people in Malawi or okay. This law has actually been existing for the past 100 years, and if you finish statute, you risk a fine of 30 euros. It is illegal to build a sandcastle in Spain. So, if you build a sandcastle in Spain, especially in some regions, you could pay a fine up to 1,500 euros. 1,500 euros is the average salary in Moldova for free bars. And we're gonna end up with North Korea.
Life! A grand gambling!
Joke's on you!
We have to find all the imposters.
Sorry, I'm the good guy. Live! Must live!
Magnificent ship! A fine dining place!
Never miss a single clue.
No survivors, as I promised.
I foresee everything.
How do you know you don't like it if you won't try?
Everyone is ridiculous, but I am callous. 命运永远站在。
绝不能错过任何线索。
too late to figure it out now.
真相只有一个。
Oops, too late to figure it out now.
我乃陈塘关总兵李靖三公子，哪吒是也。